So this texture right here is called interlocking spirals. And here it is again. And you can see that there are other patterns in between them. Just so you know, this is pyramids. This is serpentine. This is coiling around. So this one is not really anything because it wasn't done properly. But there you go. We're going to talk about this one right here, though, which is the interlocking spirals. So it's like interlocking two spirals interlocking. And that's what we're going to do. Here's my paper. I'm going to start. You can do your first couple in pencil until you get the hang of it. But you start out with a line that curves. And then you're going to curve it around and start to spiral, but don't do it too kinky. Don't do too many times. So don't do around and around and around like that. That's too much. And we're going clockwise. And what do I mean by a clockwise? So if you look at a clock, it goes like this. 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's a clock. And when I say make it turn clockwise, I mean you go in this direction. If I say counterclockwise, you go in the opposite direction. You go backwards on the clock. So you start out by going clockwise, then you make a turn and go counterclockwise out. Then you continue that line and start another spiral clockwise and stop and turn and go counterclockwise. Come back out. Continue on. Clockwise, stop, counterclockwise. Clockwise, stop, counterclockwise. You can do as many as you want to fill whatever space you're trying to fill. Whoa, this one is not enough of a spiral. So you don't want to spiral too many times and you don't want to spiral too little times. But hey, one mistake doesn't kill something. So you can see it's a little bigger than the thumb, but we're not talking about filling the whole page with a spiral, right? Plus that would be too many spirals. Okay, next step. At the beginning, you want to make a tail with a 90-degree angle. Close it off. Then you're going to make another tail here at the bottom of the second spiral with a 90-degree angle. And the next one gets one. 90-degree angle. And the next one gets one. Right? So you look at the spiral and you move a little to the left, and this opening needs to be closed off with a 90-degree angle. So it makes like a tail. And you get, this one gets one. And this lame one, this is kind of a lame one right there. It's a loser. Woo. But one mistake does not kill the whole pattern, you know? You don't want to keep making mistakes. Then on the other side of this, so you go to the spiral and go over here to the right and make another right-hand angle. So you go to the spiral, then go a little to the right, and this opening has to be closed off with a 90-degree angle. Here's another opening that needs to be closed off. So you go to the spiral, you'll look to the right, and you close off the opening with a 90-degree angle. I mean, I guess if it's an acute angle, it's not the end of the world. And this guy will just close off. So now you have two interlocking triangles. The next step is to find the first tail, the bottom tail, not the top tail. We're going to be talking about the bottom tails only. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow this spiral around by making skinny little stripes cutting across, like it's being chopped up into small pieces. And you keep following that one spiral. Don't jump on to the other spiral. Just follow the one spiral and keep chopping it up into short little lines that cut it into slices, like you're cutting a hot dog that happens to be curling. Short little lines across it and chop it up. Okay, so it's a little bit like a candy cane. Then you go to the next bottom tail, not the top tail. Start at the bottom and start cutting it up into skinny little stripes. Keep following the one spiral that starts at the bottom. Leave this one alone. So we'll leave that alone, but don't jump on to a different shape. Follow the one shape and keep cutting it up with these skinny little cuts. Short little lines, but edge to edge. And keep chopping it up like you're chopping up a candy cane. All right, so I am going to do some more on pause. Okay, so I only have the lame one. Don't make yours look like this. Make sure they actually spiral like these. But I'm still going to go ahead and draw the little skinny stripes on it, even though it's not my best one. It's only one mistake, so I wouldn't throw out the whole piece of paper. All right, so I'm just doing the last one now. And it's really important that your lines go from edge to edge. So if I am doing the skinny stripes, I don't do this. That would be bad because you don't want to cross the line. So if you're doing the skinny little stripes and doing it like this, that's no good either. You want to make sure that they touch the edges. Now, I'm not wearing my reading glasses today, so I don't know how exact I'm being. So I'm going to want to go edge to edge as best I can without crossing it. So that last one is bad. Okay, next step. So you start at the bottom again, and you make a short little line, and then you go alongside of it for all of them. Short little line, and then alongside of it, and stop when you hit the other side. Same thing with this. So short little line, then turn up and go alongside of it. So you're kind of making an edge to it. So that shouldn't take too long. One more to go. So now that I have this shape, I'm going to fill it in solid. And I'm going to finish the rest, because on pause, you get it, right? Fill it in solid. All right, so not too hard. Fill it in solid. Now you need to get a pencil. Oh, no, actually, hang on a second. We'll do the next part in pen. All right, so now we're going to deal with the top tails up here. So you're going to make that same short little line and then skinny alongside to give it some dimension. So it's three-dimensional. So short little line and then skinny alongside of it until you reach the other shape. Short little line and then alongside of it. So you can see I make a short little line that direction and then skinny alongside, but don't fill it in with marker. Instead, we're going to shade it. So I need a pencil. And I am going to first shade this with my pencil completely. Kind of heavy, kind of dark with the pencil, but it's lighter than the marker. So there should be some contrast. Contrast is important. So you create a pattern. All right. And then I'm going to start with my lame one first. And what I want you to do, now I'm going to start with a good one, is you start in the center of the coil, start heavy, and then medium. And to create the mediums, I'm just barely touching the paper, but I keep adding to it. So I'm kind of going back and forth, but I'm doing this really lightly. I'm like creating the kind of pressure that if I was to do this on the bottom of your foot, you would probably feel like I'm tickling you, right? So I create the middle, coming about halfway. Don't start getting too light too soon, right? And I don't want to see, you bring that light out here and you feather it like you're tickling somebody's nose or toes. And then you do the same here, but a little lighter. So not as heavy as this. You're going to start heavy, medium, and remember, to create the mediums, you actually don't press hard. You press lightly, but you add more to it. All right? So you don't necessarily press medium, you press light, but you add more to it. So this would be about medium to light. And then you don't need to have the heavy, heavy dark like the center. All right, so again, start heavy in the middle. And then start lightening up and create a medium by pressing light but going over it a couple times, lightly. And then go over it again, lightly. And then if you keep doing lightly on top of lightly, it becomes a good medium. And I find that's where a lot of people struggle in the shading, is they know how to make the dark, 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 but they don't know how to make the medium. The way you make a medium is you actually press lightly, but go over it more than once. And go over even sometimes more than twice. And then don't go light too soon. You want your light to end right about here where it comes out. All right? And you, again, just barely touching the page. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shade one more on camera. Heavy everybody gets. What people struggle with is the medium. And you get that by pressing lightly, but then going over it again. And maybe even again. And then, I did that, about 4 times you would say? I don't know. Now I'm maybe going to go over maybe 3 times. And then maybe I'm going to go over it just 2 times. And then maybe I'm just going to go over it 1 time. And then that would be my lights. Oh, and don't forget, you want some medium here. Sorry, I turned it upside down. Medium to light here, at the top, and then light. So mediums are created by doing light more than once, maybe like 4 times, and then maybe do 2 times, and then do 1 time. So I'm going to finish the rest of my shading on pause. All right, so I'm done with my shading. So now you can continue on with another pattern. There's all sorts of different patterns to do. You could just attach it right here. You could start your, like, if you're going to do a grid pattern, something that starts with a grid, you could just start your grid right there. So all sorts of patterns start with a grid. Squares, cubes, all start with lines that go like this. Triangles pattern, pyramid pattern. You could go right next to it. You could also just start another chain of these guys right here, right next to it, and go on from there. Curl in, curl out, curl clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, and just add it right on top and finish it up so that they're touching. All right, so again, these are called intertwining spirals. And you can do them up to as small as this. And this would be the biggest. If I see something bigger than this, I'm not going to be happy. This is really the biggest, and I'm doing it large because I don't have my reading glasses on today. They will look better if you do it a little smaller. There you go.